Hey, welcome back. Today's video is called The Biggest Hang-Up. And the reason why I call it that, and the reason why it's titled that, is because this is the single largest hang-up that guys have that they feel like they can't get past. They feel like this is their biggest problem. And that is, how do I convey that I'm an attractive guy to a woman whenever I first meet her and I don't know her? Now, as you know, if you've gone through the system that I've taught you, in the map of interaction, you recognize that there are 3 stages during the phase of attraction. The first one is introduction, which is where you sort of become a blip on the radar as you exist to someone for the very first time. This can happen whether they see you, whether they hear about you through someone else, or just hear your voice on the radio or hear in another room. They begin to make an association about who you are almost immediately, and then from there on they're building this idea of your identity in their minds. And if you act outside of that identity, it's strange for them, and they get usually pretty scared, and they feel like it's not congruent or true or real. That's why it's so important for us to constantly be in a very powerful, dominant, attractive state of mind when we meet people for the first time, because it's really hard to undo those first impressions. The second stage is demonstrating high value. Demonstrating high value is a stage during which you sort of project that you are a high value man. I'm going to go into that here in a minute. And then the stage after that is called qualifying, where you allow her to chase you for a bit so that you build the attraction up more and you solidify it before you go into rapport, which is the next major stage. So a little bit about demonstrating high value. There are tons of ways of doing this, but I have to break down the concept for you because a lot of guys get this wrong. There's a lot of belief that you can memorize something, say it to a girl, and then create attraction. That's not true. I know it's a bold statement, but it's not. It's not true. If you are using what are called routines, or if you've ever used them before, to sort of attract a woman, where you say something that's essentially a total lie about who you are, about what you've done, what you're doing is you're tapping into their insecurities and their desires for something else that's not you, and you're pretending like you are that thing. Now, what they're actually attracted to is what's called the cognitive bias that they have. If they hear what you're saying, they start to try to pretend that you are actually this person. Now, what's actually convincing them, though, is that your body language is congruent with what you're saying. So what the actual attraction points are all within your body language, not within your verbal language. So this is why it's called demonstrating high value and not verbalizing high value. And that's why guys who don't say anything at all, or women that don't speak the same language as you at all, can still be attracted to you, because they're not basing your attraction on your verbal social value, like I know this guy, and therefore you should dig me, right? So it's all about the body language. You can't just say that and then have really crappy, weak body language and have them believe you, because they wouldn't. Now, I never condone lying to a woman, and I do not use routines or pickup lines, essentially. But there are some things that you can say that aren't lies, that are just things that you say, that will hold the place of the conversation while you use your body language to do all the talking, essentially. Using your body language to attract women is the most effective way to create high value. Is the most effective way to create an initial spark that later can be fanned into a very large fire flame for the two of you, especially if you hope to get to seduction and get sexual with a woman. So let's go a little bit deeper into the demonstrating high value, or DHV, concept. The second part is the high value part. So there's demonstrating, where you aren't using your verbal language, you're just demonstrating with your body language. And then there's the high value part, where that's what you're trying to demonstrate. Now, high value essentially means that you have a very high perceived self-worth. You believe you're worth a lot. You believe you have a lot of options. You believe that women are attracted to you. These are things that you have to believe in order to project those through your body language. So demonstrating high value is essentially acting like a guy who has a lot of options, and using your body in a way that a guy who has a lot of options would use his body. And if you're incongruent and you don't really believe that you have a lot of options, then when you go to act this way, you will seem fake, and women will pick up on it, and you'll be out of there. It doesn't work. Women are very good at detecting this. The only time it would work would be with a woman who has very low self-esteem, in which case you're now filtering out all the confident women and filtering in all women have very low self-esteem, so you're never going to be happy with any of them, and it's a cycle we kind of go through. So I want to challenge you to get truly attractive, really hot women, the women who are confident and hot and have a lot of options themselves, and I want you to learn how to stay with them over time and build that relationship and build that attraction over time. So what's sort of the concept you have to learn through understanding demonstrating high value is that most guys who have a lot of options are not needy. Not needy in even the slightest sense of the word. I mean, if they're talking to a woman, a guy walks up, he's all drunk, and he talks to the girl and tries to take her away, the guy who's not needy, who has a lot of options, goes, whatever, it doesn't matter to me because there are 10 other women here that I can go talk to, and I can go home with one or all of them if I want to. So there's not a visceral sort of like get the fuck out of here kind of reaction to this guy or a desire to tool him or anything like that. It's just a reaction that says, okay, well, whatever, you know, there are plenty of women here, so I'm going to go find somebody else. And there's no anger involved in that process. There's no like resentment toward her if she falls for it. There's no feeling that they're going to be alone forever. Because demonstrating high value is about demonstrating that you have a lot of options. And if you did those things like try to put the guy down or try to step in front of him or get aggressive, basically it essentially says that yes, you're interested, but you don't have a lot of options. So what you want to do is you want to project that you're interested, but not needy. And this is really interesting because a lot of guys associate neediness and interest at the same time in the same space in their brain, and they never untangle the two. They are actually two very different things. Interest means that you are attracted, right? It means that you see something that you want and you want to know more about it. Neediness is the desire of an outcome that has to happen for them. If it doesn't happen, it means a lot of really negative things about them. It means that their belief systems won't stand still, they won't be solid, and if they don't get this thing that they want, then they will be an unattractive man, will be alone forever, whatever it is. So guys that have a lot of options don't have this sort of idea of neediness because they feel like they have a lot of options. So you don't want to act in a way that is needy. You want to act in a way that is interested but not needy. So how do we do this? And especially how do we do it without really saying anything? Well, there's one very key element in this sort of puzzle to showing interest but not neediness, and that is how we show positive body language. Now, positive body language is not like good body language. It means that we are giving someone a reward by facing them. Now, subconsciously, we don't recognize this, but if I turn like this and I'm talking to you like this for a little bit, it kind of seems condescending. It kind of seems like I don't really trust you fully, right? I'm just kind of standing here talking to you sideways, and even if I do this more where I'm doing this way, it means that I have something else more important going on over here, where this fishtail is, right here, and you're not important enough for me to look at yet, or I don't really trust you enough to be able to turn and face you completely. I don't really want to talk to you enough as much as I want to do whatever it is that I'm doing right over here, right? So what we want to do is, first off, I want you to recognize that your positive body language is directed by whichever way your chest from your shoulders, right here, this part of your chest, is facing. So if my shoulders are facing this way and my head is facing you, that means I'm interested, but I don't need you, right? This is where my stuff is directed right now. As you begin to open up a little bit and you begin to talk to me, I may turn my body a little bit more to you, right? So I may be more and more interested. I might be, okay, well maybe I should give this person a little bit more information, a little bit more time, a little bit more connection, right? A little more investment into this conversation. And then after a while, if you say something that really impresses me, I might go, wow, that's really cool. So now I'm going to face you fully with my body because you've earned that right to get that full positive body language. Now, we don't typically use our body language in the way that it should be used. We usually give the person we're talking to directly, face them directly, give them everything we can, and say, look, here I am, I'm interested, please don't believe that I'm not because I'm facing you and here I am, just look at me, I'm obviously interested in you. So now you should go home with me because this will be easy for you. But women don't look for what's easy. In fact, women usually look for the exact opposite. They look for men who are kind of aloof, who are kind of have other things to do. And so just making it easy for women is not going to get you get attraction from her toward you. Instead, you have to be able to control which parts of your body, where your chest is facing, and where your head is facing, and where your legs are facing, at which part of the interaction as you move through, and only give them the stuff that they deserve, that they've earned, right? So if you walk up to a woman you don't know, if you face her directly and you stay there, you're basically throwing yourself into the friend zone, and you do not want to do that. You want to go at an angle first, and then over time turn toward her a little bit more and a little bit more as you begin to banter. Now, the verbal part of this conversation is all banter. It's all content-free conversation. Basically means that you're going to be saying stuff that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with anything. It's just kind of fun and lighthearted. I take a lot of my banter from one of my friends, Mike Hoey, who is a professional sailor. I grew up with him, and he's really had a major influence on me in sort of my banter style. I'll teach you a lot about banter in these video series. I have a lot of secret banter lists that I never share with anybody that I want to give you, and I want to teach you the different things that have worked for me over the years. But for now, I wanted to express what demonstrating high value really is and how you can go about doing it. So for this next few days, one of the things I want you to really focus on is recognizing when you're in that stage of demonstrating high value, and try to control your positive and negative body language so that you only give them positive body language over time. You don't face them directly when you meet them. Sort of turn sideways with your feet and with your hips and with your chest, and then talk to them sideways like this for a little while. And then as soon as you feel like your interaction is going a little bit better, you face them a little bit more and a little bit more until you're facing them directly. This one little tweak will give your success a massive boost when it comes to meeting women that you don't know in an environment that's kind of high impact, like a bar, for example. Also, it makes people feel really comfortable, like they're not being attacked, or you're not being too aggressive in the beginning. So try it out and let me know what you think and what your responses are, and what kind of success you're having with it by commenting below, and I will see you in the next video.